Okay, so in this video I'm just going to briefly go through how to teach a phonogram and then how to review phonograms. So a phonogram is, phono means sound, gram means writing, so a phonogram is any written representation for a sound. So this is a phonogram and it means the sound S, but this is also a phonogram, just one phonogram, even though it's two letters, because it makes the sound sh. So for our students, they have to learn all of the phonograms in English. To start with, they learn the single letter phonograms, and then we get into teams like sh. Okay, I won't go too in depth of how to initially teach these because I go in depth with that in the learning letters video as well as in the learning vowel teams video. So for this one, I'll just briefly show, let's say that your student is learning this, actually we're going to do vowel teams today, this pack. So today, our phonogram of the day, you don't have to say that to the students, normally I say letter team or vowel team. Our vowel team of the day is R, and you can spell R like this with an AR, and then we'll practice it 3 times, so the student has to write it and say it out loud at the same time, so that it's multi-sensory, so they're going to say A-R-R, A-R-R, A-R-R. If it's still not quite sticking, then that you can use memory links and whatnot for that. Again, I go into that in the other videos. We won't do too much of that today. What I wanted to look at with this video is, okay, so that was vowel team for the day, but that was last week. So how do we keep those fresh in the student's memory? Because remember, a lot of the kids we're working with will be kids who are going to find it difficult to remember things. So what we have is a pack for each student. This is actually a vowel team pack, so it's got all of the vowel teams in it. But the pack for your students should have all of the phonograms that they have learned. You don't have to have every phonogram they've learned. If they know this one really confidently, you can take that one out. So for most students, it might be just the vowel teams that they've learned. For beginner students who still are struggling to remember the letter sounds, then you would have a letter sound pack. Okay, so it's going to have all of the vowel teams, all of the phonograms that they've learned and that we're still remembering. So here we go, we've got this set. This is all of the ones we've learned over the previous week. And now before we start, really quickly, we're just going to do a review of all your letter teams. You ready? So I'm going to show this to you and you have to say to me what sound it is. So the student's going to say ah, or, etc. If they come across one and they do ah, or, and either they tell you the wrong sound or they're not sure for the sound, you just put it aside for now. And we go through the rest. Excellent, you got all of the rest. Now we're just going to come back to this one and I'll say, now this one you missed, this one is or. Say it after me. Or, they got it, or. Okay, alright, cool. So now if I show you a couple more and you've got this one and you should remember it this time. You can do that, or if it's actually they're really having trouble remembering it on that day, again you can do the memory links or the writing it down to help them remember that. So that really should be a part of the routine for most students. Most students are going to have phonograms that they're learning and remembering, and don't underestimate the power of actually remembering those before you start, because they are something that's, needs a lot of remembering for a lot of students. Okay, so that's the reading part of it, but the thing is, actually for some students it's a lot easier to read it than to write it. So I won't do this every single lesson, but a lot of lessons I'll say, okay, all right, today instead of reading them, I'm going to get you to write them. So if I have to write the sound ah and give them a go at writing the sound ah, okay. So again, that's just a way to review, to remember. If you do, don't make it too painful. If they're struggling, if they're like, oh, I can't tell ah, you can do sneak peek. So sneak peek, there it is, now you can write it down. Something like that, because it is just for the sake of putting it back into their memory, back into their brain for that day. You don't want to make it too painful and hard to remember.